We are reflecting on the great devotee Lord Shiva saving the universe by drinking the poison, hala hala poison. There are two types of beings in our universe, the divine and the demoniac, described by Lord Krishna in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad-Gītā. So the demigods are divine, or the devas, and the asuras, they are inimical towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So sometimes the demons or asuras or materialistic persons, they prevail over the universe, over the devas. Devas and the asuras were warring with each other, described here in the 8th canto, that they were fighting who will prevail over the universe, who will command over the universe. Of course, Supreme Lord, He is favorable, although He says in the Bhagavad-Gītā, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshosti na priya, ye bhajanti tumam bhakta maite tesu chapyam. He says that I am equal to all. I am not preferential to the devotees, and name dveshosti na priya. I am not preferential to anyone. Based on their karma, they're getting good and bad results. Based on karma, good or bad, pious activities, impious activities. Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya, one who becomes my devotee, maite teshu chapyaham, then he's a friend in me. I will protect him because devotees are trying to please the Lord. So Vaishnavanim Nita Shambhu, Lord Shiva, he is a special personality here in the material world, but it is described Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. He is the greatest of all the Vaishnavas. So, as the demigods and demons were fighting, Lord Indra, the head of the demigods, one day he was riding on his elephant, Airavata. And Durvasa Muni was walking by him, traveling by him. And out of etiquette, Durvasa Muni offered Lord Indra a beautiful garland, a celestial garland. And Lord Indra, he took the garland, and what did he do? Without any respect for Durvasa Muni's contribution, he took the garland and gave it to the elephant. The elephant, being an animal, didn't really appreciate the gesture, and he took the garland and threw it on the ground with his trunk and stepped on it and trampled it. Now Durvasa Muni, sometimes he gets very angry. He is a tapasvi. He is a partial incarnation of Lord Shiva. And he performs great tapasya. He is practicing mystic yoga in the Himalayas and so on. And he has so much mystic power. But he has a problem with anger. So he cursed the demigods that you will become poverty-stricken. Because of this, the demigods became bereft of their kingdoms, and the demons attacked them and was actually injuring many of them. So they approached Lord Vishnu in Svetadvip, the island where Lord Vishnu lives, in the ocean of milk, in the Bhumandala, the area where the sun's rays extend. So Lord Vishnu said, well, if you churn the ocean of milk, I will help you to get nectar, immortal nectar. In this way, you drink this nectar and you will become immortal. And you'll be able to defeat the demons. So we hear about the different avatars. So the Lord appeared and took the form of a large tortoise, because the demons and the demigods, they made a truce. It's called the snake and mouse philosophy. One time the snake and mouse were both trapped in a basket, and the snake, if he ate the mouse, then he would not escape. And the mouse, he knows how to eat a hole in the basket. So in this way they came to an agreement. And the snake thought, well, after the mouse makes a hole and we escape, then of course I'm going to eat the mouse. So it's called snake and mouse philosophy. Sometimes different groups who have one same adversary, in other words, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So this is going on even in the higher outer planet systems. So they came to an agreement. The demons and the demigods came to an agreement. Let us churn this ocean. So they took a great mountain, Mount Mandara, and as they were bringing it, it was so heavy, the Lord Vishnu had to come and help them. In a huge form, he helped lift this mountain. And the mountain became the churning rod in the ocean of milk. We might mention here that when they have the Kumbh Mela festival at the Triveni in Prayag, that point of time, some nectar had fallen at the Triveni from the heavenly planets, from the ocean of milk. This nectar some drops had fallen. And so one who bathes there attains immortality is the story behind it. So as they were churning this Mandara mountain, the celestial serpent called Vashuki, he came there, the king of serpents came there to act as the rope for churning this mountain. However, the mountain was so heavy, it started sinking into the ocean of milk. So the Lord took the form of Kurma, the great tortoise. The Lord is omnipotent. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, natatsya masyasya kascha jishyate. Sarvasya shaktir vividhaiva shriyate, swabhavaki jnana bala kriya cha. That the Lord has many different types of potencies, and he doesn't have to do anything. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, because he is supremely independent and all his energies are working simply on his desire. So he took the form of a large tortoise, very big, and he acted as a pivot for the mountain to rest on. And as they were churning the mountain, poison came out. A lot of poison. The poison was spreading all over the universe. And so they begged Lord Shiva, the demigods approached Lord Shiva, Mahadev, great personality. He can withstand even huge amounts of poison. He is the Shaktivash avatar of Vishnu. He's in charge of the modes of ignorance, tamagun, here in the material world. Therefore, he's also a guna avatar. So Lord Shiva was approached by the devas and the asuras. And he said, let me help you. So he reduced this poison into as much as could fit in his palm. And he also spoke to his wife, Bhavarani. She's known as Hemavati, Parvati, Uma. His wife can take many, many forms. The potency of Lord Shiva, Shiva Shakti. And she knew that Lord Shiva was powerful enough to absorb the poison. So she said, yes, you must help them. So Lord Shiva, he's very compassionate because he is a Vaishnava. The entire universe was under threat from this universal poison that was produced from this ocean of milk. And all living entities were going to suffer and die. So Lord Shiva, out of his great compassion, para dukkha dukhi, one who is unhappy to see others' unhappiness, out of his great compassion, he decided to drink this poison. So devotees of the Lord, they undergo and make great efforts and undergo very many times very difficult situations in order to deliver the souls who are lost in the quagmire of this material world. Icha dvesha samutena dvandva mohina bharata sarva bhuteshu samoham. Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad-Gītā that living entities are born into illusion, overwhelmed by the dualities of desire and hate. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. They're always bewildered by the illusory energy of the Lord. The Lord has empowered the external energy, his external energy. Mama Maya. He says, my Maya is very powerful. And he causes the living entity who takes birth in this material world to identify with the material body and try to, therefore, enjoy various types of pleasures like lust, greed, comforts, and so on. And Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam, that he doesn't understand that life is so temporary. Dukkalayam ashashvatam. Life is full of misery, dukkalayam, and ashashvatam. At some point, one has to give up this material body, give up his attachment to his family members, give up attachment to his social position, to all his wealth. Everything will be taken away by Lord Hari. Lord Hari means one who takes away everything. So Krishna says, Kamusmi Bharatarshava, I am time itself, and I will take away everything in the form of death. But the living entities, Purusho Prakriti Stohi Bhunkte Prakriti Sadgunan, Karanam Guna Sangosyat Sadasat Joni Janmashu. That Purusha, the living entity, is known as Purusha because he's trying to enjoy Prakriti. Prakriti means female, Purusha means male. So the living entity is trying to be the enjoyer of this material world. And he is influenced by the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. In the mode of passion, one is obsessed with material possessions, lobha pravitim aramba, and he works day and night, 24/7, trying to get more and more money. Konu arta trishna visprijat pranebhyo piya itsita. That Prahlad Maharaj says, money is sweeter than honey. Even one's own life force, one's own breath, money is more desirable than one's own breath of air. So this is the situation of the materialistic conditioned soul. So the demigods and the demons were churning, and so this poison was caught by Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, of course, we see that he's sitting in the mountains, Ilavarta Varsha, one of the areas of this particular Bhumandala, or where the solar system. He's sitting there in the Himalayan, part of the Himalayas, and he doesn't even have a house. He doesn't have an airplane. Although he is such a great personality, he's sitting under a tree, and his wife Parvati is sitting on his lap. He is full of vairagya, or he is detached from all material desires. Vasudeva Janiyatiyashu vairagyam jnanam chayad ahaitukam. Vasudevam Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha. One who engages in devotional service to the Lord, Krishna. Krishna is known as the Lord of all the demigods. He says that in the Bhagavad-Gītā. None of the demigods know him in full. Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavitaha. No one understands him fully, he says, because of his Yogamaya potency. He says that even the Devas don't know him. For in every respect, Aham Adir Hidevanam, he says, I am the source of all the gods, including Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Chandra, Surya. He is the source of all these various demigods. Therefore, Bhakti is meant for Krishna. So Lord Shiva is known as the greatest of all devotees of Krishna. Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. He also tells Parvati, in the Padma Purana it's mentioned, Aradhananam Sarvesham Vishnur Aradhanam Param Tasmat Parataram Devi Tadiyanam Tadarchanam. Of all different types of worship, worship of Lord Vishnu, who is an expansion of Krishna, is of the highest type. But higher than the worship of Vishnu is Tadiyanam, the worship of his devotee. So Lord Shiva is always meditating on an expansion of Krishna called Sankarshan, who is an expansion of Lord Balaram, who is an expansion of Lord Krishna. So Shiva here, he decides that he's going to relieve all the living entities within the universe by drinking this poison. And so he drank the poison. A few drops scattered throughout the universe, and those became the property of the animals who contain poison, like the serpents, scorpions, and other poisonous creatures. Insects that carry poison also. So Lord Shiva, or the Vaishnavas, he is a personification of devotion. He is full of compassion. The devotees of the Lord are very, very compassionate. They're simply concerned about how to help those souls who are forgetful of the Lord. Therefore, in the Bhagavad-Gītā, 18th chapter, Krishna says, Nat chatasmin manusheshu kaschin me priyakritama. Who is most dear to Lord Krishna? He's the speaker of Bhagavad-Gītā. He's telling Arjuna the various qualities. Advaishta sarvabhutana maitra karuna evacha. Nirbhamo nirahankaro niryogo samaduka sukakshami. He says that one who is dear to me is advaishta, non-envious. He doesn't have any envy because he is free, aniya, from all material desires. He has no desire for wealth or enjoyment of beautiful women, not dhanam, not janam, or big followers. He doesn't want a high position. He doesn't care about these things. They're all temporary. So advaishta, non-envious, because he's not motivated by the false ego. Advaishta sarvabhutanam. Sarvabhuta, all living entities, he has some compassion for them. Maitra Karuna, he's friendly to all living entities. Maitra, Karuna, he feels pity for those who are worthy of pity, those who are suffering and struggling in this material world. The living entities who do not take shelter of Krishna, who do not accept God, then Krishna says in the Bhagavad-Gītā, Yashastra vidyam utsrija, vartate kamakarata, nasa siddhim avapnoti, na sukam, na param gatim. He says, those persons who do not follow my words. In other words, God gives us Shastra. Shastra means rules. Follow the rules, and then you'll become happy. Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mataksavam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava. He says, I'm the source of both the spiritual and material worlds. The wise who know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So, those who are uncooperative, unsurrendered, unaccepting, the demons, they are never favorable to the Lord and his devotees. So when they were churning this ocean of milk, the demons, they're always trying to have the upper position. So they were arguing with the demigod. We should have the front portion of Vasuki. We should be near his head. We shouldn't be at the back where his tail is. You know, we are superior like this. This is demonic mentality. So, of course, Lord Vishnu, he said, yes, I will, you demigods, you devas, you devotees, you should take the back, take a humble position. So we see the demons, there's some kind of music going on in the background. So the demons, they were thought, oh, we are so important. And as they were, Vasuki was breathing fire. He's the king of the snakes. He has a lot of fire coming out of his mouth. And so the demons were becoming overwhelmed by the flames, and they were in a weak position while churning this ocean of milk. Of course, Krishna, he says that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhutanam adharmasya tadatmanam shrijamyam. That he comes, paritranaya sadhunam. Krishna always protects his devotees, the sadhus. Those who are saintly, Krishna gives them protection, and he vanquishes the demoniac persons. Why? The demoniac person is godless. Just like in our modern society today, they're saying that there's no God. Therefore, they come up with their own religion, which is irreligion. Adharmam, dharmam itya manyate tamasavita. In the mode of ignorance, a demonic person thinks that irreligion is actually the religion. So they say that life came from chemicals, that some millions of years ago, after the earth cooled down, after the Big Bang, pure speculation, about 4.5 billion years ago, chemicals started to self-organize. But even in their multi-million-dollar laboratories, even with all their intellectual interventions and intellectual investment, still they have no clue how to produce even a living germ, like an E. coli, which is a bacteria which has life. It has all the symptoms of life: birth, growth, reproduction, sustenance, self-sustenance, dwindling, getting old, and dying. These are the 6 symptoms of life. So we are challenging these demons. You reject the existence of God because you epistemologically assume that all reality can be encountered through the experimental process, the empirical process. With your external senses, you can come to understand all reality. However, we ask them, well, make consciousness. Do you know what consciousness is? Do you love your family? Show me love under a microscope. Certain aspects of our reality, especially subjectivity and the subjective reality, the I am, emotions, the perception of what's going on between our senses and the external world, we're perceiving, we're observing that. Intentionality, we have a sense of purpose, and so on. These things lie beyond the realm of material naturalism, empiricism, seeing is believing. So this is the religion of the demons. They reject the existence of God, and therefore the Lord does not favor them. In fact, he says, he condemns them in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad-Gītá. He condemns them. Tanaham dvishatakuram samtareshu naradhamam shipamiya jashum ashubam Surishu eva yonishu. He says that people who are adverse to the existence of the Supreme Lord, they are known as Naradhama, lowest of mankind, Naradhamam. He says, Krishna says there, Shipamriya Jashum Ashubham, I cast them in their next lifetime, into the lower species of life, dogs and cats, animal life, germ life, worm life, insect life. One who dies in a mode of ignorance, tata pralinas tamasa mudo jonasi jayate. If you die in a mode of ignorance, which means you think you're the body, and you engage in all kinds of abominable activities like eating non-veg, in other words, causing the death of animals, engaging in intoxication, tamagun, eating the flesh of creatures, tamagun, engaging in other illicit activities, tamagun, laziness, enviousness. These are all qualities of ignorance. Then at the time of death, one goes down. One can also go up. Urdvam gachanti shatvashta. Madhya tishtanti rajasa. If you die in a mode of goodness means simplicity, seeing that there's a soul within the body, understanding there's a supreme being who is all-powerful. This is mode of goodness. Vegetarian diet, simple diets, and so on. Freedom from too many material desires. In this way, one can go higher. Urdvam gachanti shatrishta. The time of death, one soul can be elevated to a higher planetary system or back to the spiritual world. So Lord Shiva, the great devotee of the Lord, he's always concerned how to give relief to the suffering here in this world of birth and death. Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartinojana mamupecha tu konteya punarjanma navidyate. Krishna says to Arjuna in the 8th chapter that from the lowest planets, the Patalas, up to the highest planets, Brahmaloka, all these planets are places of misery, of birth and death. Even Lord Brahma, even the demigods have to die, although they live for insanely amounts of long lifetime compared to us. Lord Brahma's lifetime is 311 trillion solar years. That's a long lifetime. One day of Brahma is 4,800,000,000 years, according to the Vedas. And then he has a night also. But Krishna says that even these higher planetary beings, they all have to give up their situations at the time of dissolution. Bhuta bhutva praliyate. Everything is wrapped up. Krishna causes creation, there's maintenance, and then there's annihilation. And Lord Shiva is involved in that also. So therefore, mamupecha tu konteya punarjanma. One who becomes the devotee of Lord Krishna, as he tells Arjuna, who is a great devotee of the Lord, one who becomes my devotee, of course Krishna says, I will protect you. He says, Yasvacharam tas mamanusmar yujata mai arpato manu buddhi. He says, if you put your intelligence in me, if you put your mind in me, if you engage all your activities are dedicated to me, then Krishna says, I will protect you. Chetasa sarvakarmani mai sanyasya matpara buddhi yogam upashvitaha machita sarvadurgani matprasada tarishyasi. He says, if you become conscious of me, if you engage all your senses in serving me, then he says that I will remove all your problems in life. The ultimate problem is death. Old age and death will come. And we are caught in this cycle of birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. One who dies takes birth. One who takes birth dies. That is Krishna's claim in chapter 2 of Bhagavad-Gītā. So this material body is not who we are. He tells Arjuna, Najayate mrite vakadacha, the soul never dies. Your body is made of the 8 elements. Bhumir apanalo vayu kamano buddhi evacha ahankaraitya me bina prakriti rastada. These different elements are inert elements. They're given life by the injection of the soul into the body. Very subtle type of energy. Just like one famous neurosurgeon, Michael Agner, he did so many experiments on the brain, neurosurgeon. Sometimes they cut the brain in half, sometimes he studies people who were born with half a brain. And he noticed that the atheistic claim that the brain is the cause of life, that doesn't hold up to his investigation. That even people with half a brain, there's something else that gives them abilities to perform and function like a normal person. And he noticed that even people who were in a coma, he did experiments on them, and they were still conscious of him. He would ask a question like, wiggle your toes, or he would stimulate the brain for them to do something, because you can do that. And he felt that even in a coma, people were somewhat conscious. So this soul is full of consciousness, and it's what gives life to the body. It's the primal mover. And that is the beginning of self-realization. So the demons, they reject this idea of soul and God, Supreme Person, all-pervading. They say that the life came just by chance, and the universe happens to be working in an orderly way. We have a teleological universe, a universe where one component it serves the purpose of another component, a chain reaction which causes sustenance of life. For example, the sun gives heat and light. Because of the sun, we get clouds. Then the water falls on the earth planet, and there are seeds there with different types of life forms. And then the inside of these plants and so on, we find the vitamins and nutrients that are required to keep the body going. So it seems like a big machine which has purpose. Teleological universe is an argument for the existence of God. Just like if an engineer designs a machine, when you turn the key, so many chain reactions happen, the wheels go forward, and you end up in New Delhi. Or a plane, you push the button, the plane starts, and then it flies to New York. So teleological, there's a purpose within our universe. So many components are connected with each other, cause and effect is there. And therefore, the purpose is that all living creatures are living. And so in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad-Gītā, Krishna says, Istan Bogan Hivo Deva Tardatan Yagyate Tasyante Yagyabhavitaha Tardatan Apradayebho Yobhangtostena Eva Saha. That all the necessities of life are being provided, but atheistic people, they simply don't care. They don't see the hand of God behind everything. They don't see the complex arrangement of all life forms. The cells are very complex, so on and so forth. Everything is working in a very, very synchronized way so that life can exist on our planets, all different planets. So they don't accept that as Supreme Being. But here, Lord Shiva, knowing that the living entity is born into ignorance, overcome by dualities of desire and hate, and that they're going through life trying to enjoy with their mind and senses. Their mind is, as Prahlad Maharaj told his father, your only enemy is your mind. In the materialistic society, they have friends and enemies. But devotee of the Lord, he sees that it's just the modes of nature acting on people, and therefore they become influenced by lust, kam, krodh, anger, kam, krodh, lobh, greed, more and more. The more I possess, the happier I'll be. Kam, krodh, lobh, moha, mada. Moha means illusion. Like I smoke a cigarette thinking, oh, it's wonderful, and it's killing me. Cancer. Yeah, I think that's illusion. There's no pleasure, happiness there. It's illusory. Moha, mada, madness. Taking ganja is like drinking poison. Taking drugs, it's like drinking poison. Lord Shiva is very powerful. He could drink the poison. But nowadays people, they think they can also smoke ganja, but it'll kill them. Madness. You do something that's destructive to your very existence. Mohamada, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mohamada, Matsarya. Matsarya means jealousy. I see people in certain situations with so much material opulence, and I'm jealous of that. I think that is a source of happiness. So all these conditions that the conditioned soul, the illusory person in illusion, is caught up in this network of illusion. Lord Shiva feels great compassion, and therefore there is the Rudra Sampradaya, or disciplic succession. Krishna tells Arjuna, Imam Vishvasvate Yogam Proktavam Aham Avyayam Vivashvan Manave Prahur Manu Ikshvakave Bhavet. He says, I spoke this great knowledge 2 million years ago to the sun god. Yes, there are beings on the sun planet, and there's the god of the sun, the king of the sun. Vivashvan is there. So Krishna spoke this eternal, perennial knowledge to the sun god 2.5 million years ago. And he passed it down to Maharaj Ikshvaku. Maharaj Ikshvaku is the king of the sun dynasty on this planet. So it's passed down from Vivashvan to Manu. Manu is one of the 14 sons of Brahma. Brahma has 72 Manus in a lifetime of Brahma. And in one day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. So Manu is an empowered son of Lord Brahma. They have various assignments within our universe. So Manu came to the earth planet and spoke it to Ikshvaku. And therefore this Bhagavad-Gītā is actually eternal knowledge. Historically, it's been in existence for millions and millions and millions of years. It is knowledge from Krishna, who is eternal, who is avyaya. He's never exhausted. Ajopi-san avyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi-san. He says, I am the Lord of all beings, and aja, I'm unborn, and avyaya, I never die. But Krishna says, I descend in this world to uplift human society and establish dharma, principles of religion, so that people can become uplifted and human society can go work harmoniously and understand that the purpose of human life is not material aggrandizement, not material expansion of material goods and material pleasures and material comforts. That is not the purpose of our life. The purpose of life is how to love God, how to understand my eternal nature and my eternal relationship, sambandha, with the Supreme Person, who's a very beautiful person. He has unlimited opulence. He Aishvaryasya Shamagrasya Viryasya Shishashamya Yashashashriya. Krishna is the source, and he's full of all six opulences: wealth, strength, knowledge, renunciation, fame, and beauty. He's the source of all these things. He's the source of everything that exists. So we have an eternal relationship with Krishna, and we have to learn this, be educated by accepting a bona fide spiritual master. So Lord Shiva, he established the Rudra Sampradaya, a disciplic succession where master teaches student, student becomes master and passes down the fruit of Vedic knowledge from master to disciple, and it comes to us in this way, perfect, without any convolution, with any interpretation. So many religions become contaminated or polluted by one's deviation of the acharyas. There are four principles which have to be upheld by the acharyas. No non-veg or meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, and no illicit sex. These are four principles or prohibitions, are the four legs of Dharma who came in the form of a bull. So the four legs of Dharma in the form of a bull. Austerity comes from avoiding intoxication. That's the first leg. Cleanliness comes from avoiding illicit activity relationships, sexual relationships, illicit sex. Cleanliness, the second leg of Dharma. The third leg is truthfulness. Truthfulness is supported by prohibition of gambling. So austerity, truthfulness, and compassion, the fourth leg of Dharma, is supported by avoiding the slaughter of any animal. Any animal. The devotee of the Lord is friendly to all living entities, and he sees that all creatures are praja, or citizens of the state. Krishna says to Arjuna in the 14th chapter, Sarva Yonishi Kuntaya Mutaya Sambhavantiya Tesham Brahma Mahadyonir Aham Bija Pradapita. That all living entities, all yonis, all species of life are created by Krishna. Aham Bija, I am the seed giving, he says to Arjuna, Aham Bija Pradapita, I am the seed giving father of all the various species of life. Species of life are procreated through eggs, through the embryo, through seeds, like this, in different ways. Different beings are proliferated or created. And Krishna has arranged these different ways, these biological ways of producing species. They don't evolve from monkeys or horses. No, it's not possible. They have discovered, the Darwinists have discovered, the natural selection working on genetic mutation is insufficient to produce different species of life. But because the demoniac people reject the existence of God, they also tell lies in their educational literature, in the textbooks in the universities. Oh yes, there is a primordial soup, billions of years ago, and by chemical interactions, gradually little creatures came slithering out. It's a total mythology. It's the mythology of atheism. They can't even do it in their laboratories. What to speak of under a rock, pre-bio times, billions of years ago. How much more difficult would it have been? They can't do it in relevant, pre-bio relevant situations. They can't do it. They can cheat. They can steal from a plant nowadays, take some chemicals from a plant and mix it up in a petri dish and say, oh, look, we produce some building blocks of life, some proteins, some amino acids. But they're so far away. They have no clue how to produce a living creature. What to speak of the creatures evolving into all different species. Pure lies, pure garbage, nonsense. But this is what they promote because they believe that strongly they have a bias against the existence of God. This is the problem. So we live in a very godless society. It's called Kali Yuga, the age of hypocrisy and quarrel. So because of this lack of spirituality, lack of God consciousness, people are always fighting, there's always wars, always conflict. So many diseases are coming due to sinful activities, cancers, AIDS, all these things due to sinful activities, breaking the rules of Dharma. So unless these four legs of Dharma are supported, cleanliness, austerity, mercy, and truthfulness, and human society is just drowning in chaos, drowning in conflict and chaos. And people, mandu sumanda mateo, people are unintelligent about who they are, and upajuta, they're always disturbed, always disturbed.